And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural Devsession stream. If you don't know us, my name is Ramón, and I'm joined by Aram, who is the founder and CE/TO of Devsession. Aram, please feel free to introduce yourself a bit.
Hi everyone. I'm super excited about this. This is actually my first stream ever. Super hyped. Um, I started Dev Session. I also started Zellij, and what we'll be doing today is kind of, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first time ever someone is using Zellij to have a multiplayer session and live code. Super hyped about that to see how this goes.
Awesome, thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Zellij is for those that are not familiar?
Sure. So Zellij is I call it a terminal workspace. It's similar to terminal multiplexers such as Tmux or Screen. And it essentially allows you to split your terminal into several panes, several tabs, and be able to do things in tandem. Zellij also allows you to write plugins for it in any language that compiles to WebAssembly. We use them for our interface, and we pride ourselves on having a very user-friendly experience for it's really important to me that as soon as you start using Zellij for the first time, you immediately know how to use it. So that's something we pride ourselves on. And an ability we added a couple of months ago is the ability to have multiplayer sessions. So this is kind of what we're doing today. As opposed to other terminal multiplexers in Zellij, if you log in from different machines to the same session, then each one gets a cursor and you can kind of see each other type. And I guess we'll see how that goes soon.
I'm super excited. Folks in the chat, if you're watching, if you've not heard of Zellij before and you're interested in checking it out, I've put a link there in the chat. If you have heard of terminal multiplexers, for example, before I actually started using Zellij after I got to know Aram and met the vibrant Zellij community. I was using something called Tmux, which you might have heard of as well. But what I like about Zellij is that it's sort of like the experience I had with Tmux after I read the book on how to use Tmux. Fantastic book, by the way. It was from Pragmatic Programmers. Anyway, super highly recommend that checking out Zellij. Again, great community. And what I'm going to be doing here today is I'm going to be working for the first time in the Zellij code base, which is written in Rust. So I'm super excited. I've been wanting to do Rust stuff for ages. I've dabbled a little bit in Rust myself, but not really had much of a chance. So that's Zellij. But Aram, why don't you tell us a little bit about Devsession as well?
Devsession is sort of a service that I'm starting with Ramon's help to sort of give people the ability, first and foremost, to have to easily be able to share their Zellij session. So right now, what we're doing for this stream is we are both connected by VPN, and Ramón will be logged in through SSH to my computer, and we'll be sharing a session that way. It works, but it required a bit of setup, and it's not something that I would expect people to be able to do instantly. It's something you have to pre-prepare for. So with Devsession, what I want to do is to give a service to the Zellij community so that within Zellij, you would be able to just press a button, share your session, get a URL, send it to someone else, and then they can either paste it into Zellij and connect to your session, paste it into a browser once we add web client support, in the future, maybe even paste it into various IDEs. VS Code, IntelliJ, what have you, and be able to actually share code, share like the coding experience through the IDE itself with other people using different IDEs. So like sort of what we're doing now is like two Vim users, but I think it will be really awesome to be able to like pair together as a Vim user with a VS Code user, for example.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, I was super excited when I met Aram that we were both Vim users. So without further ado, by the way, folks, you saw I put a link here. If you're interested in like what we're doing at Devsession and you're interested in early access, I highly encourage you to sign up for early access. Don't worry, like we hate spam as much as you do. So you'll only get an email from us to let you know that, hey, you can start using the terminal session, the multiplayer terminal session sharing. Yeah,
a bit of a tongueful.
A bit of a tongueful. Yeah, good timing for how it's going to go on a stream. Nah, it's going to be fine. Yeah. So without further ado, let's have a look at how we're going to be doing. So what I'm going to do now is put up Aram's screen. So what you're about to see next is his screen. What he sees here is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at?
Sure. So this is my Zellij session. For those who don't know Zellij, it's like we have 4 panes here. In each one, we have a like a different Vim window open to a different file. We'll talk, I think, a little bit about the task itself that we're going to do through this stream later.
Yes.
But yeah. So here you can see like my focus moving around, and I can also move. We can see like on the top bar, we see the line that says code and cargo check. Code is the tab that I'm in right now. I can move to the cargo check tab where I run, you guessed it, cargo check. And we can like move back and forth between that. On the bottom bar, this is also a Zellij thing. It shows me like my the current key bindings that I'm using. I do Control P, for example, and then it highlights the pane, which allows me to move around with either H, J, K, L, or the arrow keys, split, rename panes, and like what have you. There are like plenty of options here. You can install Zellij and play around with it yourself. It's like should be like very intuitive.
Awesome. So right now you're by yourself in that session, but as Aram said earlier, I'm connected to your computer via SSH via VPN, so it should be secure. I'm gonna now attach like you would with a TMUX session. You can attach to a session. You can do this in Zellij, and what I'm gonna do is join the session. So watch the pane at the top left. I believe that's the one where I'm gonna hop in.
Yeah, and there we are. So right now, both of us are focused on the same pane. I was assigned the magenta color, and I see that Ramón was assigned the cyan color. Now I moved out, so we're focused on different panes. I can see Ramón's cursor. Ramón can see my cursor.
Move around a little bit.
Yeah, and both of us with our clanky keyboards are moving around our respective Vim windows. Yeah.
Cool. So I see here the 4 panes that you mentioned. I can also switch over to the cargo check tab, which you won't see. But if you look at the top left, at the top left where the tabs are, you can see that my cursor is living there right now. So you can see cargo check, and there's the cyan cursor. That means that I have moved over to that pane. So it's kind of like I'm working independently. We're only sharing Aram's screen here, so I'm kind of working on my own secret window.
Yeah. Cool. So, shall we talk a little bit about the task at hand?
Please.
Cool. So what we're doing today is we're working on the Zellij code base itself. We're doing a task that Zellij code base, as Ramón mentioned, is Rust-based. We're doing a task that it's one of those things that like I think we left over for a while. It's a refactoring task. So essentially, what we're doing is we have we have a trait. For those of you who are not Rust people, it's I think it's basically like a kind of an interface, a general implementation. The trait you can see here if you follow my mouse. Let's look for it. There we are. It's the pane trait. So a pane in Zellij can be a terminal pane or it can be a plugin pane. A terminal pane is what we see here on screen. It's, for example, what I'm focused on is a terminal pane that has Vim open. Example is we see two plugin panes here on screen because our Zellij's interface is created from WebAssembly plugins. So the status bar on the bottom, these two lines, the Control P and the tip, is one plugin pane. And the tab bar on the top is another plugin pane.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
So panes essentially do they can have functions in them. For example, here you see the X function, which returns the pane's X coordinates. So and Y, how many rows and how many columns it has, and like a variety of other stuff. When we created this, we sort of thought that it would make sense to have this shared functionality inside a trait. Hello. To have this shared functionality inside a trait, because we thought we'll have a terminal pane, a plugin pane. Back then, we thought we'll have other kinds of panes, and maybe foreseeably we would allow users to define their own types of panes, like in plugins and such. But as the project kind of matured, we find out that we really just kind of have these two panes alone. And the problem that kind of happens here is that if we check out here we have the plugin pane on the right, and here we have the terminal pane on the left. There is a lot of implementation that is essentially boilerplate. It's kind of the same thing going around, and the same thing going around here. Some of it is defined on the pane trait itself, it's like a default implementation. Some of it isn't. Some of it can be. Some of it can't be. But it's as with complex real-world code bases, this is something that kind of developed and blew up over time. What we want to do today is kind of move this functionality into a struct, to have just a pane struct, as we see here in the middle.
Yeah.
That has all of these methods. Currently, they're unimplemented. That will kind of do the same thing for terminal or for a pane.
Aram, I'm very sorry to interrupt you, folks in the chat. I don't know if this is happening to you too. But it would appear that some of this has do you know what? That was on my end. For some reason, your video and the screen share had frozen. We're back. Super cool. We got a question actually in the chat that I'd love to answer. How are you guys cooperating right now? Is this some sort of closed beta of Devsession? Do you want to take this or shall I?
Go ahead.
So we are cooperating right now using what we call a multiplayer session in Zellij. So Zellij being the open source project that powers the technologies that we're hoping to have with Devsession, is open source. There is a early access program we are working on to bring to facilitate these multiplayer terminal session. You can sign up here at devsession.is, but essentially we are now connected via SSH through a VPN.
Yeah.
So there's no secret sauce here. I wanted to say.
So yeah, not the easiest thing, but yeah, it works at a pinch.
Yes.
So yeah, as I was saying, so our goal here is essentially to here I am, to essentially merge these two windows, the plugin pane implementation of the pane trait and the terminal pane implementation into the pane struct implementation. Right now, we're calling it pane struct. That's not the nicest name, but in the future, it will be called just pane once we get rid of the pane trait, but right now it would be super confusing if both of them will be called pane. An upshot that we will have is that if we look at the tab struct here in the window below, okay, we see that a tab is like, for example, in Zellij right now, there is the code tab and the cargo check tab. A tab has many panes. They're in a B-tree map, which, in case you don't know, it's kind of like a hash map, only that it has its keys have ordering, like a predictable order. This is what is in Zellij right now. We have to have a B-tree map.
Oh.
Our box dynamic pane, which, like, if you're not a Rust person, it's I think it's called a trait object, because we have to kind of manually allocate it on the heap, and a box carries lots of metadata with it and stuff. The pane struct will be allocated on the heap anyway, but this it would allow us to lose a lot of boilerplate. Like, for example, even starting here, this is much nicer than the below. So what we'll be doing today is that Ramón, on the one hand, will be doing the task we mentioned on top, and merging everything together. And while he's doing that, I will be going through the tab, finding out all the errors. For example, here we have we're assigning a box, and it's no longer a box. So I'll be slowly getting rid of them while Ramón is working. I imagine that a lot of what I'll be doing, since Ramón is brand new to the code base, would be to help him out with questions. Things.
Sorry, I think we lost you
Ramón,
there.
do you have any questions?
Sorry, I lost.
Yeah,
I think we lost you there for a second. Could you repeat that last part?
Starting where?
Sorry, that was where my task was. That's where I lost you, at least.
So,
sorry, you'll be finding each error with the tabs. That's where I lost you.
Yes. So a tab has many panes. So I'll be focusing on the tab. Ramón will be focusing on the pane, and kind of merging stuff together. And I'll be fixing every place where inside the tab itself where we replace, where we have to remove the boxes and stuff like that. And I think this is a cool task that can exemplify how to actually use this method of developing in tandem, working on the same task while not physically doing the same thing at once.
Absolutely. So, I'm going to need a lot of help, so I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. We have a comment, by the way, that I want to read out. I use Zellij every day, by the way. It's very useful, and I've even written a plugin for it already.
Awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
Please share that. We'd love to know what plugin you made.
For sure.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna dive in. Sorry, did I interrupt you, Aram?
No, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna dive right in then. So my task is gonna be to consolidate. So you can see my cyan cursor there. I'm gonna be consolidating these functions. For example, so if I remember correctly, I'm just gonna look at, for example, how this is done in the instruct. And if I remember correctly, so I'm going to be bringing those functions over to this one. So I'm going to just copy that using Vim. So I do it with a double Y, a yank to yank the whole line, move over one pane. Hope I did that correctly. Oh, I did not. There we go. And paste that in. I don't suppose I would already be able to check if that worked, right, Aram?
To check? No, very much not. We're in a totally broken state right now. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
How would I? Yeah. I'll just continue
going
here. Yes, I'm going to have a lot of questions, so I might interrupt you a lot.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you
Go
can
ahead,
see here, for
please.
example, in line 63, I've already brought over 2 of them. How will I know when I'll need to sort of specialize my function? Not as in not just copying functionality over from the pane implementation.
Like, you mean if you have like something different that happens in a terminal and something different that happens in a plugin?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I think it would make sense to add a like for example, if you'll allow me to hijack your cursor for a moment.
Please.
So
I'm also
here
gonna highlight
we have the
this plugin that's shown for us. Sorry to interrupt. We've got a Zellij compact status, a small alternative to the bar at the bottom. Super cool.
nice.
And with
We'll definitely check that out later. So yeah, I think here we can add maybe some kind of kind that will be a, I don't know, pane kind. And then here we add like something like enum pane kind, which is either, you probably need to be public, either a terminal or
yes.
a plugin. And then you can match on it. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yep, it makes total sense. We've also got a question.
Yeah.
With the nvim plugin, which I think is planned, will this sort of cooperation be possible with multiple clients working on multiple nvim splits, or will they always need to be Zellij panes? I don't actually know much about nvim myself. That's NeoVim, right?
Yeah, I think so. Good question. With with the nvim splits, I think nvim would have to support multiple clients, right? We can probably integrate with that if that's a feature that nvim has, but I don't know if it has it.
Got it.
So
we've got another question. We're going to get a lot of questions. And folks, if you're watching, the aim is not to finish today. We're just going to get as far as we can. And
it's a huge task.
It's a big task. What about completion configuration? Is that shared? So I would love to try to answer this one if I may. Please feel free to correct me, Aram. I'm logged into Aram's machine, which means that I'm using his Vim configuration. The aim that we would love to do with Devsession later on is to be able to, me from my Vim, collaborate with him from his Vim. And it doesn't even have to be Vim. It can be IntelliJ, it can be VS Code. Yeah.
But right now we're in my kingdom. So the completions are mine. The completions I have set up in my Vim, I think it's just basically if it's a word that is somewhere in the file, then you can tap complete it. But it doesn't have the smart intelligence stuff because I personally don't like it.
Very fair.
I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Ramon. Do you like the intelligence completion stuff?
I don't actually use it. I don't remember what plugin. It's one of those plugins that I installed years and years and years ago, and I don't really.
Yeah.
I think I do. I think I just do relative to the file that I'm in, or relative to my open sessions in Vim.
Aha! That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. But it doesn't like know to complete something like I don't know in the. Based on like if you do the pen struct dot something that it won't like complete it there, right? Like only the stuff that is there.
Yeah,
it doesn't have that level of intelligence, right?
No, I don't think so. I never. I think back in my Ruby days, I used to use something were they called C tags or coffee tags, something like that.
Yes, yeah. That's how it works, I think.
And that was a pain to maintain.
Smart C tags, smart indexes, as
that's it.
As QBaller says in the chat.
Yeah, that's it. C tags. So I used to use those, but I don't use those much anymore. Now I think I regress to be less lazy in a bad way. Because I think being lazy when programming is a good thing.
Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what I want to do here, let me just hide our videos again. Is I want to be, where am I? Yes. I want to be, am I in, oh, I was in pain mode. This happens to me all the time.
You can also move with Alt HJKL if that's your thing.
I would love to, but I think I need to fix my iTerm in macOS.
Yeah, that's a thing. So yeah, Control P arrows for you it is.
Control P and HJKL, which is a good compromise, I find. So I need to be checking.
So
yes, sorry.
Yeah, I find out like I found out like a need that I have. I need to add a constructor method to painstruct because like what I have here is like I have self panes insert and I remove the box, like it used to be box new, yeah, box not boss. So this added like this inserted it's the plugin pane, but now it's telling me, hey, I'm not expecting a plugin pane, I'm expecting a pane struct, and it's like obviously because that's what we're doing. So I think I'm going to add a new method that I think this will be the easiest point of integration that will do like something like this: pane struct new gets the plugin. Okay, and then like we'll implement that later. But I want to add like a placeholder, if I may hijack your cursor.
No, please.
Let's make it a new implementation to make like the former trait stuff clearer, and later we can merge them. Let's say function new gets like or new from plugin returns self and unimplemented, and like later I'll add like plugin here because like I guess plugin pane, and it's not important. I think probably we'll get an error. No error. Amazing. Great. So I'll stop entering into your file.
All good.
Yeah.
This is great. I didn't know that you could have two implementations next to each other. Do they override or do they combine?
I think they combine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think they combine. Yeah, it's cool because then you can have stuff in different files depending on like the theme of what you're doing, and have like this feature implemented here and that feature implemented there, and yeah.
Awesome. So now I'm gonna do the content X. Am I to assume correctly that the content X, just from what I'm reading here, would be like the width of the pane? Like the width of the content in the pane?
Not exactly. So the content X is like if we look at the screen here, we see that the panes have like kind of a frame.
Right.
Okay. So the X is something that we need to know about the like where the panes are, so they don't like bump into each other, for example. But the program that's running inside the pane, like Vim in this case, doesn't know about the frame. Like it's just running inside. So if you think about it, it's both like it's X. If we do like the XY thing, then its X is actually one greater than the X of the frame. Does that make sense?
Yes, so far so good.
So that's what we call the content X. And we also have content rows, which is like 2 units smaller than the rows of the entire pane, because it removes both sides of the frame.
Got it.
Okay, so we need the content X for when, like, for example, when we are resizing the pane or resizing the whole window, and we want to tell Vim, to tell the terminal that's running Vim inside that it needs to resize itself, then we give it the content X, because if we give it the non-content X, then it would like be larger than we have room for it.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
I love this because I'm learning not just like, doing some Rust stuff, but also learning how terminal emulators work. Sorry, I'm just struggling with switching panes, but I'm getting used to it. Columns. What I'm doing here is just looking at the two types of panes, the terminal pane and the plugin pane, and consolidating their code into a single pane struct. Let's see. Honestly, what I'm doing is just looking at each, get columns, saturating sub, content. So I'm gonna bring that pane, switch pane, that over here. I'm gonna do the same for rows. I think I finally found my rhythm and I'm sort of relaxing into it. That's my favorite part. And I love that I can watch what you're doing and just sort of know, like, if I run into trouble that I can call
you have that comforting other cursor in the same session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got preset size and position override, TM override, none, reflow lines. So
I'm going to quickly hijack your middle window again. Like, yeah, in the future we want to be able to have like two cursors in the same thing when we're using two different sessions, but right now we have to share. I also need new from terminal into the terminal pane.
Cool. We've got a quick question here.
Yeah.
What completion engine is this NVim config using? LSP config or COC? I don't believe we're using NeoVim, are we?
No, this is just Vim. And the completion engine, it has I don't remember the name of the plugin, but essentially what it does is, like, if it's a word that's somewhere in the file, then it can complete it. I don't, like I mentioned this earlier, I don't like all the smarter intellis and stuff. Plain non-NeoVim. Yeah, I don't know. I never got on the NeoVim bandwagon. Maybe it will happen someday, but I'm like super happy with this.
I can say from my side, I still use like plain non-NeoVim, mostly because, if I'm honest, my vimrc is a mess, and I haven't cleaned it up in years.
Yeah.
So I should like, I've been meaning to check it out, but just honestly haven't gotten to it. And especially as I've moved into more developer relations work, I found that I'm actually doing more on like VS Code for doing things like screen sharing and that sort of thing. So, I mean, I still come very comfortably back to Vim. Yeah. Cool. So you did that. I'm just going to come back to where I was before.
I had it.
So we're doing self rows, reset size, and position override. I'd love to ask you for some help if I may.
Sure. Let me just finish this thing. Doing a bit of grunt work here. Yes. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I've got a reset size and position override function that I'm working on.
Sure.
Doesn't return anything here. I'm seeing that they're almost similar on both sides, except here it does reflow lines, and it looks like this is something we're going to want to use a couple times. So if I look up the definition of reflow lines, I find that definition real quick. Here.
And there we go.
I see that it does more than just self should render equals true that you see here on the rightmost. How would it be best to consolidate these? Would I want to reflow the lines, or?
Okay, so this kind of gets into, we're starting to get into like the real differences between a plugin pane and a terminal pane. So a terminal pane, like if you kind of think of a terminal, then like actually let's just, I think we can probably just demonstrate it. So if I open a terminal pane here and do like my favorite, like do demask to like throw. Oh, I got the password wrong. To throw like a lot of content on the screen.
Ooh.
So the reflow lines of a terminal, like if we'll resize this pane for a second, then we can see that like the lines, like the line wraps get like flown and reflown. So that's like what reflow lines does. Plugins don't have that yet, but like in the future, we want to like we probably want to give the plugin author the option to do this, to say, I'm throwing like a bunch of text on the screen. Whether my size, however you resize me, reflow the lines or don't reflow the lines, or like whatever. So what I would do at this point is I would add it, and then that would be the default action, and then later, or actually, coming to think about it. Let's make it the default action, and then we can like fix it up later. Maybe match against it, or something like that. But here you have to start. Like for example, in the reflow lines, we have self grid, and you don't have grid on the pane struct, so you have to start copying it over. And then we also because a plugin pane doesn't have a grid, we start like having a difference here. So for now, copy the grid over. It's fine. A grid is like the state that keeps what keeps the state of the text, like whatever text is on screen, what color it is, where the cursor is, for example. That's like all inside the grid.
So if I understood correctly, that would be what we're doing here in the reflow lines function on the terminal pane. Is that right?
Yeah, we're changing the rows and columns in the pane struct itself, and also telling the grid resize yourself, and the grid handles the reflow lines. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that. I also wanted to bring attention, if I may. It looks like folks are trying to get us into NeoVim. For the eventual Devsession plugin, we could avoid the pain of using Vim script, and you write it in Lua instead. I didn't know that they were written in Lua. That's pretty cool.
I heard that.
Yeah, and folks are excited about NeoVim. We also got this here. I might have encountered a bug related to this. I got a crash developing my plugin, and I think it happened when a special character, a power line symbol, or maybe an ANSI escape code was at the end of the line. I was wondering, is that something that? Yeah.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Would that be good to make an issue of on GitHub?
Please do. Please open an issue about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me. I've got too many tabs open. GitHub, Zellij, org Zellij. I'll put the link into the chat. Thank you for finding that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh no, wait! I can't see me. There we go. Right there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt us.
Yeah. Cool. To your question, was that
super satisfactory?
Cool.
I'm gonna make this messy. Does declaring private functions in the middle of a set of public ones, is that okay while I'm developing?
Yeah, for sure. Like maybe for you it would make sense because then the panes won't be aligned. So, but like whatever's comfortable for you.
I figure
later we can switch them around. Yeah.
Exactly. So we've got a grid. That's good. That should render true. That sounds awesome. I mean, in any case, thanks for finding that bug. It might not be easy to reproduce. Maybe I'll get around to making a minimal example plugin later and figure out what exactly class is it. And I mean, that's a lot of when it comes to this sort of open source thing, right? It's just like fumbling around in the dark and seeing what works.
Yeah, very much.
So let's carry on here. set size and position. So to bring over that function, set should render true. Set should render. Fact, let's make that fn. Nice. I'm just going to copy that over. Size and position override. Size. So I'm gonna bring over that geom override none and reflow lines. The cool thing is that now that I brought over the reflow lines function, a lot of this should go pretty smoothly. Set size and position. Yeah. Awesome. So I'm just going to take these functions and be a good citizen and bring them down.
Wow, this is reducing so much boilerplate. It's amazing.
Reducing boilerplate is always
so
a good thing, right?
I'm so happy. Like things look so better now.
Always a good thing to reduce boilerplate. GEOM set. GEOM, I guess, stands for geometry, like the geometry of a pane.
Yes, yeah. It used to be like this struct used to be called position and size, and then we refactored stuff and turned it into geom, like pane geometry. But like we didn't change all the places in the code where, so it's still like geom equals position and size, which is kind of weird. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, that's fair. And I see we've got a set geom and a set geom override.
Yeah, an override is like if we can turn a pane into full screen. So an override would be like we now give it the geom of the full screen, but we want to be able to bring it back to the way it was. So we keep its previous geom, and then when we put it back, we just remove the geom override, and then it's its previous size. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, what is PTY bytes? What is PTY in general? I've seen PTY in some of the places.
So, like really quick, PTY stands for pseudo teletype. The non-pseudo is called TTY. If you're a Linux user and you do like Control Shift F2, then you're in a different TTY.
Yeah, I've seen TTY.
And PTY is something that like kind of emulates that into your like terminal that runs inside of a terminal emulator that runs inside of X. Oversimplified, but that's like kind of it. In this context, where do you see PTY?
I'm bringing over a function called handle PTY bytes. So I guess that would be.
Oh yeah.
So that would be the bytes that are in that PTY. Could I call it an instance?
PTY instance connection. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. Like maybe it's not right. But like what's happening here is that we have because these structs are essentially like UI beings. They hold the state of the terminal in the UI. So the PTY byte is something that we get from like when we open a pane, we open a PTY in the operating system and tell it like open a shell inside, like open bash or fish or whatever, and listen to data that's coming in. So that data is the like the VTE bytes essentially, and like virtual terminal. Not sure what that stands for, to be honest. Maybe someone in the chat knows. So then it takes those bytes, it's just like a string of ANSI instructions, parses them and turns them into a state in the UI. Like, for example, this is the text you have, this is its color, and such, which is like essentially a UI action. So this is what this function does. It takes all those bytes and turns it and like parses them and turns them into the like the state of how things look on screen.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, and while we're here, I can see that, for example,
Yeah.
for the plugin pane, this function is unimplemented. But for the
Yes.
terminal pane, it is. Is this a place where I would want to do a match?
I wouldn't because
Okay.
it's unimplemented in it's unimplemented in the Zellij code base in production essentially. And in Rust, as we know, when we come to an unimplemented function, we crash. And since we
Right.
know that we don't crash in this function, then it means that this is a code path that doesn't happen because plugins work right now a little bit differently. But we want to use this. We want to like consolidate those code paths sometime in the future. So I would make it the same for both of them and not be worried about it because like you shouldn't be worried about not reaching an unimplemented place because if that happened in production, Zellij would crash all the time. So
makes sense.
So no
to me.
worries.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
So thank you. So next,
Sure.
I'm gonna get those cursor coordinates, which for here, I think I found a place where I got to do a match. Now I got to remember how to do a match in Rust. So I'm just gonna quickly. Is this live or is it just getting randomly recorded? Cool. So I need to look up how to do a match in Rust. Rust match.
Do you want like a phone friend?
A phone a friend? No. Thank you. I wanna.
No,
actually-
you're on your own. Cool.
I'm actually every Thursday morning. I'm European time. I do a little bit of like Rust learning.
Okay.
Live on stream. So I'm trying to memorize some of this. So
Cool.
match. How could I? Do we assign? Sorry, I will actually phone a friend for a bit, Aram, if I may.
Okay. Yeah.
Do
for
we?
Sure.
We defined at the top that pane kind.
Yes.
Is that assigned right now? Hey, thanks very much for your comments. Have a good day.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
Have a nice evening.
Yeah, thanks for stopping
day.
by. Yes, I wanted to ask. Right, we've got this pane kind that we defined. How can I access the kind of my pane? I can't yet, can I? I guess I'd need to put that into my struct.
I think we did.
Oh,
yeah,
yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
My bad.
Self-kind. All good.
Excellent. Thank you. So with that, I'll be able to access it. Awesome.
There's some things here I'm leaving for later because they're harder.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Wonder when the later will come. Kind of think that later came. Did it?
Correctly. Match kind.
Yes.
And then when
okay.
I do.
So need to go to another file. You are not happy. There we are.
So how do I do this? I want the arrow and then plugin we want to return? None. Terminal.
Very
All of this.
happy. There we are. Also, stuff in the box.
Sorry, I seem to be having some troubles with my monitor, so you might see me fumbling around here. It's doing this thing where it turns itself off and on. Okay, so
impolite.
very impolite.
Yeah.
So I think I did this correctly.
I'm doing a lot of threading now, like things that are expecting boxes and are no longer boxes.
Things that are boxes as in and instead panes, right?
Yeah, the trade object, which is be wrapped in a box and now is no longer in a box, but like it's like going a few levels deep.
Got it.
So yeah.
So for the function that I'm working on, it's got a big chunk of code. I'm gonna honestly just copy that over along with
go for it.
Along with all of the comments. I'm sure that somebody will need to have those there.
Yeah. This is definitely it's a bit of a hacky function, which we'll have to
Cool. So next one, we just got to return the geom. I can do that. Yeah. Or so.
Then you'll go into Ramon's unimplemented function, and you should be happy. Are you happy?
Which one?
Yeah, just like things that are oh good, like I have a function here that I was expecting to get a box, but that's because one of the functions in the trait was expecting a box, and so I changed into pane struct, and then it's no longer expecting a box.
Yeah. Gotcha. Whoa, could I be done?
Are you done?
Could I be? I think the rest is already implemented. Render?
Really?
Let me just look up unimplement. I might have done this completely wrong, Aram. Oh no, clear scroll is still not done.
Clear scroll. Yeah, but you're getting there.
Clear scroll, unimplemented here. Clear scroll here is implemented. That's that. Handle PTY bytes.
Yeah, still a few stuff to do.
Cool. I'm not complaining.
Not yet, anyway.
Oh, I know what I did, Aram. I completely messed up. I moved the panes around by accident with my fat fingers.
Oh, I see. Okay, all good.
How do I?
So you can switch them with Control H arrows.
Control H?
You probably press Control H instead of Control P. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Now I'm back here, right?
Yep. Yeah, and here's all the unimplemented stuff. Yeah, I thought that was a little quick.
No, yeah. Oh dear. Now I completely messed these up, but I guess I haven't saved yet, so it should be okay. Can I undo here? Here? Yeah, we should be fine. Sorry, please ignore me.
Notice that you switched. It seems that you switched them around. Like, oh, good, just you won't be confused. Like the plugin pane and the terminal pane are now on like opposite sides than they were before. Okay.
Yes, that I got.
Cool.
know that I did that.
Yeah.
Some flow lines.
Oh, we just
Lights.
there we are.
Could it be that I am occasionally stealing stuff from your yank buffer?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like something I hadn't like really quite figured a solution for is that like the paste buffer of all my panes is of all my vims is
Yeah.
joint. So
That's fair.
so like it allows you to copy from files, but if I delete stuff, it will also like override your buffer. So sorry about that.
Oh, good. No worries. All good. Geom override. Geom override. Okay. Should render. Self grid should render. Let's do that.
Now, does these things make sense to you?
So far, so good. The grid in this case, I suppose, is the grid of the pane where I'm in.
The grid of it, yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly, and the should render is a bit of a to know like that something changed inside the pane, so that we need to render it in the next next time we render whatever to the screen. So we just don't constantly render everything. It will not be very performant otherwise. Is performant a word, by the way?
Performant is totally a word.
Yeah, it is? Okay.
Performant is absolutely a word.
Because I remember like all these spell checkers and stuff, like they constantly tell me that it's not a word, and I'm like, yeah, but isn't it though? So
what I don't know if it's spelled perform ant or perform int, but I think it's perform ant.
Perform ant.
Like most,
maybe it's a British American thing.
Yeah, could be. I'll be frank. I'm not entirely sure what the correct spelling is, but it feels like it's a word.
I have a feeling it's not a word. I'll be straight with you.
Fair enough.
But I think it should be one, if that's fair.
Now I'm gonna look it up. According to Oxford, perform ant is defined as functioning well or as expected.
Aha, nice. Okay, so it is a word. Good.
So there we go.
There you have it, evil spell checker.
Aram, I wanted to ask, by the way, I think I found a function here that is not implemented but not present in any of the other structs. And that is this one here. Set should render boundaries. Whoopsie. I accidentally zoomed in. Sorry, ignore me.
No, all good.
Render boundaries. Not found. If I look it up here, also not found. That's weird, right?
Set should render boundaries, and I let me myself, because maybe this is like a spelling thing and my fingers remember it. Weird. Okay, let's go to the trait, the original trait in tab, and see. Set should render boundaries. Yeah, it's here. Oh, okay. You know what? So yeah, what's happening is that I think you found like a dead code like path, because here in the trait we have a default implementation. You might start hitting those soon. So here you see like that It essentially is a function that does nothing. That's the default implementation, and none of like either the terminal pane or the plugin pane implement it. I'm curious where this is used. So like, I guess this does nothing. It's probably something that did something at some point, and we removed it. And yeah, so you can probably remove it. I'll remove it from here. Remove it from here.
I'll remove it as well.
Yeah, and if it matters, I'll remove it from the trait that we're getting rid of. But now it shouldn't. So, yeah, good find.
Wait, sure. Like, I'm glad I could help. Right, I think I've reached the render function, which I think is the chunkiest one so far. And it's looking pretty different for each.
Yes. So yeah, this is definitely something you should match on. If you want to be a good code citizen, I would even separate it to two different functions,
Yes,
like
exactly.
render render terminal, render plugin, and then match and call the internal function depending on what you are. And later we will separate it into different structs. Like my idea, it's just like a bigger task than for today, but my idea was to have the kind enum, how is it called, pane kind. The pane kind enum have like data inside it. So it will have a terminal pane, which will be the new terminal pane inside the enum, and then you match. If I'm a terminal pane, you get the terminal pane struct, terminal pane.render. If I'm like plugin pane.render, but that's a story for another time.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
I think I've done this correctly.
Yay, no more boxes. Okay, so now let's go to pane sizer. Get rid of all the boxes.
I think if I just close this.
Where are you? Pane.
That wasn't good. I want to select
too much copying.
Yeah, I feel ya.
Yeah.
Hey, Rattlesnake Jetpack says, "Hey, Aram, I made it."
What? Hi. Hey, Rattlesnake. I don't know who you are by the nickname.
Maybe it's somebody from the Zellij community.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe would they know you by a different name? Yeah. Spoke earlier. Oh yeah. Hi. I think we had a chat. Cool. Have you made it? Yeah,
awesome.
We're like very deep into this. Yeah.
We're probably going to start winding. Yeah.
Winding. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, it's been like an hour. So.
Hasn't it flown by?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm getting rid of boxes. It feels like I'm moving.
Yeah, very accurate.
Yeah, so it's very kind of you to laugh at all my stupid jokes. Really, you're a very kind person.
No, this is
proverbially roll your eyes.
I love me a terrible joke. My nickname. I don't know if I've ever explained my nickname to you, Aram. Hola, soy milk.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
So it's Spanish for hello, I am milk.
Oh, and soy is like, that's clever.
Yeah,
cool.
That's terrible, but it's cute, and I like it.
Cool, yeah.
Awesome. Yes, I'm going to copy over one more function, and I'd say after that, I'm good to start winding down, but I don't want to interrupt your flow, Aram, so let's keep going.
Okay, for sure. So like you're basically finishing off the render function,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Exactly.
cool. So like you make the render work, and that's the biggest thing. Like if you do that, it will be very, very,
And honestly,
very
what I'm
helpful.
gonna do is do a match like we talked.
Yes. Lots of copying. So yeah, that copying alone will probably take like 10 minutes. Oh, this function is terrible because the render function is something that we keep like tagging stuff onto. So
Oh yeah.
that's why it's so big and monstrous. Like it's a refactoring a task in itself, like making the render function better.
It's
I did it for tab because tab also has render, which calls all the renders of the panes. We also need to do it for the panes themselves, but this is totally a good start. Wow, I'm so excited about this refactor. Really, things like are looking so much better.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna copy over my match here.
So this one, and you are now a instruct. Yeah, I'm like, by the way, 2 files deep into like doing the boxes thing, because everything, every like there is the pane map that was expecting boxes, and I like fixed that, and then the pane map calling the pane resizer, which is expecting boxes, and now I'm fixing that. And I think there are more. Like I'll have to like go back and then like go. It's like a breadth first thing. So I'll go back and like there will be probably another struct expecting boxes. Whew. Yeah.
Of my one of the folks I teach JavaScript to stopped over to watch and said this looks like a lot, and I'm like, hey, don't worry, I'm like in over my head as well. I'm mostly poking around in the dark. I hope I'm helping. Even if by just doing
so.
I'm glad. Even if just doing like a little bit of cleaning up, that's how this works.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. I'm right now. I have an error. Like that I have no idea what's going on. Like, as ref exists for reference, blah blah, but doesn't exist for what?
So this is going to be render plugin self. When you call, sorry, Adam, I don't know. I'm not going to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
When I'm calling a function on the same, when I'm calling a function on the same struct, right? You know how we define it to have self as a first parameter, but I don't pass that in when I'm invoking it, right?
No, it's just like yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. But no, you don't need to like just client ID. It does the rest.
Got it.
It does the rest on its own.
Cool.
Like client ID, it has a client ID, and it's fine. That should be cool. Look what a beautiful function you made. Like this is how render should look. The only problem is that you moved all of the mess to the other functions. So, but yeah, this is how render should look. 2 lines, that's it.
I mean, I proverbially just sweeped it under the rug.
Under 2 different rugs.
Yes, fair point.
Yes.
Fair point.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. How could I check that this is compiling correctly?
It's for sure is not compiling correctly, but
or at least mostly.
Okay, so if we move over to the second tab where I have cargo check, which will check for us if it compiles without trying to run it, we'll do cargo check, and so like there is just one error. It says like I'm not even starting to check the other stuff. It's like you have an unexpected closing delimiter. So let's find that unexpected closing delimiter in Zellij server source panes mod. Like here it says that it doesn't like this.
I've had this error so many times in my life.
Yes. So allow me
Please.
delete. I think probably delete this one too. Let's see. Yes, and then we get all these other errors. And if we
Okay,
like
great.
go to the cargo check tab and run cargo check, everything is wrong. Like we have, it didn't even pipe to. Doesn't it do that? Like if I do cargo check pipe to WC-L to count the lines, it doesn't do that.
Huh.
I guess not. I guess it's probably because it's probably going to SSD error and I need to like pipe that as well. Whatever. So
Gotcha.
yeah, we have 42 errors and 5 warnings. The way I know cargo check will probably fix those 42 errors, and then we'll get into like another layer of errors. So like yeah. Oh good, this is one of those things that like only once both of us finish everything, then it will compile, and then we'll probably have to fix some logical errors that happen after it compiled. So yeah, it's a lot. As we mentioned at the beginning, this is not a task that we can finish in one stream. Maybe
Totally.
like maybe sometime we want to have like an additional stream about this if we feel like it.
I would love that.
Cool. Yeah, me too. I would for sure. Like I've been putting this task off for so long, and like yeah, it's really great to see this coming together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can start winding down. Essentially,
Sounds
right?
good to me. Yeah. Let me.
Cool.
I guess I've saved. I mean, this is the only file I've edited. I don't know. Do you want to? I don't know. I don't want to interrupt your workflow, Aram, but do you want to
Oh, good.
commit that? Commit anything or something?
Yeah, sure. So let's like open another window here, see all the files that we've changed, and I git adds, git commit. Fish like prompts me to maybe want to just call it like by a non-descriptive name here. Like, no fish, no.
It's really cool to see fish in action.
Fish is amazing, really. Let's call it because this whole branch is called pain trait refactor. So beginning of refactoring work with Ramon and or maybe call it by refactoring work by Ramon and Aram. Yeah.
Great.
And then like what I'll do, I think I'll actually push it to the main Zellij repository, and if people want to check out the branch with the beginning of our work, they can. It's a totally broken branch, as you can see, but you can pain trait refactor. Go to the branch.
Oh. Oh, sorry, folks. I don't know if that's my connection. Let me just make sure that everything's working. Aram, you're able to see me fine, right?
No.
I mean, sorry, see and hear me. Let me just.
I hear you.
My camera.
I hear you fine. There's like a disembodied voice. So.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Like I was just adjusting the camera just to make sure that because we lost you there for a second, but I guess you pushed to the pain trait refactor folder. Branch.
Branch. Yes. So this is on the Zellij repository. If you want to walk by and check out our work, if you want to help us out and do like a pull request to this branch, that would also be awesome. But I would totally get if like doing random refactor work for like an open source project is like not your jam. So
but of course any help is appreciated. Yeah, this was fun. I want to do it again. Like if I can ask
me too,
that would be super cool.
Me too. Yeah, for sure. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Well, folks, again, thank you so much for stopping by. We're hoping to be able to deliver this kind of functionality that you saw today with Zellij in a really easy, non-VPN, non-SSH login way with Devsession. That's the service that we'd like to work on. So if you're interested in checking that out, go to devsession.is. Twitter handle is at the, sorry, my camera is not working with me. Bottom right of the stream. Follow us, sign up for early access, and get in touch. Thank you so much for stopping by, everybody. And Aram, thank you so much for hand-holding me through this today.
For sure, for sure. Great work. Thank you so much yourself for hosting the stream and helping out with refactoring.
It was
Great.
a joy.
So, yeah.
So to everybody else, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for recommending NeoVim. And yeah, all the best. And thank you for stopping by, everybody. Bye now.
Cool. Bye-bye.